Hello and welcome to the Evening News for today, Friday, June 13, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, Granger refuses to apologize for PNC transgressions. Man critical after being shot and robbed at Timeri. Cabinet worried about success of $1 billion cleanup campaign. Friendship man charged for spouse's murder. Furor over IFMAS is a manufactured controversy, says Dr. Singh. And 6 charged for selling pornographic DVDs. Now for the news in detail. The leadership of the People's National Congress Reform has refused to apologize for the transgressions it committed during its 28 years in government. Alexis Rodney examines now the issue as David Granger today refused to offer any blanket apology to those hurt or affected by the party's past actions.
The People's National Congress Reform's dark past and alleged transgressions continue to blight its political fortunes in the 21st century. Even today, calls are mounting for the party's leadership to apologize for the role it allegedly played in undermining civil rights leaders, politicians and prominent Guyanese who dared to stand up to what was deemed then an autocratic political regime. The party has also been credited with leaving the Guyanese economy in a state of bankruptcy as the Guyanese from all walks of life recall the hardships and struggles they endured under the leadership of the PNC government. But the party's new leader, who rose to the limelight back in 2011, David Granger, is refusing to apologize for any and all transgressions allegedly committed by his party unless there is evidence and findings flowing from formal probes.
If, for example, you feel that there has been, killing of persons, if you feel that there have been, elections which have been tampered with, I told the people in Queens, let us investigate all the elections right up to 2011. And if errors are found, if it is found that persons misbehave, let us deal with those. But I'm not going to give any blanket apology when nobody has given any indication as to what is to be investigated. I want to see evidence.
Granger, addressing the media, appeared to be saying that he is unwilling to give the victims of any or all wrongs committed by the PNC any justice or relief by offering an apology. He said that he will not be forced into apologizing for the PNC's action during its dark and brutish 28 years in government on the basis of the hearsay evidence emanating from the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry.
I said if things have been wrong, I'm prepared to have an investigation. I'm not going to apologize on the basis of hearsay or conjecture or speculation. And I pointed out in the case of the Rupununi Rebellion, and this is the 50th anniversary of some terrible things that went wrong in this country. Terrible things. People were sent to foreign countries to train. They came back with weapons. They came back and some terrible things happened in this country. So if we want to go the way of apologies, let us have a thorough investigation. And let the people who have committed those wrongs be investigated.
The notion attached to the request for apologies, it was pointed out, is to afford the party the opportunity of casting its net into other non-traditional constituencies when general elections comes up in 2016. Granger prefers to generalize and hide under the comfort that all parties have done wrong at some time in their past.
Things to apologize for. I was in Rupununi in January 1969, and all of the leaflets and flyers in Rupununi were from United Force. I know that the leader of the United Force was in there just before Christmas in 1968. I know that a member of the United Force, a person who was on the list, Ms. Valerie Hart, was expelled from the United Force because of her involvement in that rebellion. Nobody calls the United Force to apologize. Mr. Melville, who was one of the leaders was one of the first MPs for United Force, they led a rebellion, an armed rebellion against the state of Guyana. People were killed. They were expelled from the United Force. The United Force has never apologized.
The PNC and its new coalition, APNU, are losing ground due to the positions they adopted in several matters of urgent public importance, ranging from the AML bill to the Walter Rodney Commission of Inquiry.
A minor is battling for his life in the intensive care unit of the Georgetown Public Hospital after he was shot twice just after midnight on Thursday along the Timeri Public Road, East Bank, Demerara. Bisham Mohammed reports.
30-year-old Terence Young of Lot 54 Public Road, Tamari, East Bank, Demerara, was shot once to his chest and once to his right leg. He is reportedly in a stable but critical condition. According to information received, the soon-to-be father left home at about 19 hours 30 on Thursday afternoon to collect some money from a colleague, since he was due to return to the interior on Friday morning. It was while he was heading home he was shot by unknown persons who relieved him of his jewelry, cash, mobile phone, and other personal articles. This newscast spoke with the mother of the injured man at the Georgetown Public Hospital on Friday morning.
He had to home about 8, 9 o'clock he went, about 7 o'clock he went home and he went dancing around the table. We say he taken 2 plantain chips and thing, but he left and go out on the road. So I don't know if he got to buy anything or whatever, there is it, because them don't thief, them is not a thief, man. It's a little while piney and Carl see that he gets shoot by, I think by base them there. Somewhere they must pass and see.
His brother also explained when he would have gotten the news of his brother's shooting.
Spend the money, spend by pan a base now. So there is money. Possibly carry at a reach to put it there. The 6 o'clock. When you go spend for passage now, like me, no, you beat you up. Somebody pass and fire some bullets and you get them not. After the fire, you end up going to see the cousin. Because his family is the cousin. And you call Tony and Tony and Spinny, but Tony knows them all like he lived at the gate to drinking. So I remember the time he couldn't really driving bus. And now we shoot at one, he used to come out. He really, private car, he nagged straight when he heard the orientation, he was told.
The young man who took the injured man to the medical facility was being questioned by police ranks at the Alberton police station as police continue their investigations. The Evening News understands that it is a norm for young men to lime at the road corners late in the evening into the mornings. Terence was reportedly warned by his mother to stay off the road after a certain time. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
After confessing that he had murdered his reputed wife, a Friendship East Bank Demerara father of 3 was arraigned with murder on Friday at the Georgetown Magistrates Court. Here again is Bisham Mohammed.
As he trembled in the holding dock of the Georgetown Magistrates Court, Vindra Siriram of Lot 34 Friendship East Bank Demerara was not required to plead to the indictable charge, which stated that between June 9 and 10, he murdered Shelly Prasad. 25-year-old Shelly Prasad, a mother of 3, was found dead with her head submerged in a bucket of water at her Friendship East Bank Demerara home on Tuesday morning. She was found at about 2 hours 30 by the defendant, who admitted to drowning the mother of 3 in a bucket of water while in a drunken state. Initially, the ECI Engineering and Construction Company employee claimed that he discovered his spouse with her head submerged in a bucket of water when he woke up to urinate. At the Georgetown Magistrates Court earlier today, the defendant was represented by attorney-at-law Kevin Bess, but was remanded to prison by Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari and will make his next court appearance on July 4. On his second court appearance, a date is expected to be fixed for commencement of preliminary inquiry. A total of 9 witnesses are expected to testify. It was also reported that Siriram told investigators he held Prasad's head in the 5-gallon bucket of water which was on the back step. He also told ranks that it was after he had struck the woman to the back of her neck and she lost consciousness was he able to get her head into the bucket of water, since she was stronger than him. The post-mortem performed on the woman's body by Dr. Niyal Singh substantiated Siriram's confession, which proved that she died from drowning due to compression injuries to the neck. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
6 persons appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Court today charged with selling pornographic material to the public. The Evening News understands that the police embarked upon a campaign following a comprehensive story published by the Ghana Times on the matter last weekend. Melissa Jacobs, Lloyd Smith and Jermaine Norris pleaded guilty to the charges and were ordered to pay a fine of $25,000. Elton Hodge, Collis Jackman and Alexis Adams pleaded not guilty to the charge and are to return to court on June 16. The men and women appeared before Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari after they were found selling pornographic DVDs at the Stabrook Market. Kaichor newspaper came in for high criticisms over its attempt to mislead the country into believing that the Finance Ministry has been abusing the contingency fund. Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh said reports published are far from the truth. More from Svetlana Marshall.
Contrary to reports published in the Kaitro newspaper, the National Assembly has approved $8.7 billion in contingency fund transactions during this the 10th Parliament. Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh said the $8.7 billion represents 92.6% of the $9.4 billion of contingency fund transactions that were presented to the House in the form of Financial Papers number 7 of 2011, number 9 of 2011, number 4 of 2012, number 6 of 2012, number 2 of 2013, and number 4 of 2013.
So here you have the Parliament saying 92.6% of the times on which, well, not the times, but the value of the transactions entered into by this government, we endorse and are prepared to approve. So where is this abuse? Where is this abuse that is the screaming front page headline? Where you have $8.7 billion worth of contingencies fund transactions approved. Where is the abuse?
The contingency fund has been established by the National Assembly to provide funding in cases of emergency in keeping with the Fiscal Management and Accountability Act. In the Thursday, June 12, 2014 edition of the Kaitro newspaper, a page 9 article carried the caption, "Speaker concern about government continued abuse of emergency fund." According to the Minister of Finance, the Kaitro newspaper and Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, Carl Greenwich, continue to distort information in their quest to score cheap political points.
But I am proud of the fact that we were able as a government to convince the National Assembly that more than 90% of the value of our contingencies fund transactions were worthy of parliamentary approval. I am pleased with the fact that we were able collectively as a government to persuade the National Assembly. What this says, in fact, is that the National Assembly endorsed the responsible use of the contingencies fund.
Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh has dismissed reports on the Integrated Financial Management Accountability System as nothing more than a politically motivated, manufactured controversy. Let's find out more in this report.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh says the entire issue with respect to the non-implementation of 2 modules of the IFMAS is nothing more than a manufactured controversy. Dr. Singh was speaking at a press conference on Thursday, and he noted that IFMAS has revolutionized the public financial management process, and the attempted criticisms by members of the society are somewhat politically motivated. He explained the contention that as a result of the 2 modules not being implemented, millions of dollars can go untraced, is nothing more than a fallacy.
You honestly believe that the president of a country inserts himself into the matter of which accounting module should be implemented and when and how it should be customized? You honestly believe that? You think that is what I'm sitting on? I'm not the president. You think that's what Ashni Singh or Donald Ramotar or Bar Jagdeo, is that what you put us there to do? I don't believe that you put the Minister of Finance, or certainly not the president, to insert himself in technical matters such as this. That's why we have technicians like the able individuals that I just identified for you. I have neither the inclination nor the mandate to insert myself in these technical matters. And under all normal circumstances, the issue of defining the technical solution is one that is determined by a technician.
one of the determining factors in the implementation of the modules was the situation of business alignment. The finance minister explained that business alignment refers to the optimization of the value that information technology can contribute to a system.
One has to examine the processes that we use in Guyana, what our laws say, what our systems are, what our processes. It's called business process, that's what it's called. What the process contemplated by the system, what those processes are, and ensure that there is alignment in business process. In other words, that the system will actually be giving us what we would like it to give us, that it is designed for our environment, and that it would automate the processes that we would like it to automate. Unless there's business process alignment, there's no point implementing a system.
Further, he pointed out that 4 modules were initially implemented. Those 4 modules are the controls module, the appropriations module, the general ledger module, and the expenditure module of the IFMAS. The core features of the remaining modules were implemented in the initial 5 modules.
In its modular design, it came with certain core functionality. So you have what you call core modules. And the 4 modules that were implemented, and I called them just now, the controls, the appropriation, the general ledger, and the expenditure module, form the core of the IFMAS. They are what you might like to think of the heart and soul of the system. They have all of the key controls built into them. They have high quality internal controls. They are integrated from the standpoint that expenditure can be funds can be released, which is expenditure authorization set.
He further pointed out that while there were instances of persons in violation of the policies, these were detected and the remedial action was taken almost instantaneously.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh on Thursday blasted reports by sections of the media that the ministry has refused to train IFMAS operators. More in this report.
Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh refuted claims that the ministry has refused to train persons to operate the Integrated Financial Management and Accounting System, IFMAS, explaining that over 400 persons have been trained by the government to use the software.
To say that the Finance Ministry refuses to train operators is a blatant misrepresentation. From the earliest days of this system, we have been training potential users, in fact, before it was implemented. I'm advised, in fact, that we have provided direct training to over 400 public officers on the IFMAS. We have IFMAS connectivity now in every single government ministry and every region, including the hinterland regions, by remote microwave internet connection.
He contended that the training would have been facilitated by the government through the Public Service Training Institute.
I am told that the PSM calendar of training programs for public servants, the PSM, some of you may know, that PSM, all public servants like Adam would know, PSM has a training calendar, roster of training programs. The PSM roster of training programs includes the IFMAS government accounting as a specific training program. That training program is run every year, and I'm advised that the class size is typically over 50, and the program is run twice a year, and so more than 100 persons are trained every year on the IFMAS. The resource personnel are drawn either from my ministry, and like I said, we have capable persons who have been associated with the system from its earliest days, or indeed from other ministries where you now have master users, people who are extremely experienced with the system, who have been working in the system for a long time.
The misinformation and deliberate lies were published in the June 5 edition of the Kaicher News under an article captioned, Government 10-Year-Old Accounting System, IFMAS. Finance Ministry refuses to train operators. Bisham Mohammed, The Evening News.
Acting Town Clerk Carol Suba today carried out an inspection of pumps and drainage systems around Georgetown in an effort to tackle the effects of the rainy season. Here are details.
Today, the acting town clerk, Carol Suba, performed an inspection of pumps and cokers around Georgetown to see what needs to be done to combat the effects of the rainy season. Her examination started at the Riverside Coker on the East Bank and ended in Lillian Dal.
The rainy season is here, and I need to know the status of all the pumps and the cokers. I need to know what is working, what's not working, what works are in progress, how soon the works will be done, if we need assistance from Ministry of Works, because they're Sea and River Defense too, they usually assist us, so we can be in an informed position to know where we are in the event of flooding.
Suba stated that she usually performs these inspections to get a first-hand look at what is going on around Georgetown, but recently, because of security reasons, she could not go out as often as she would have liked. She's therefore glad she had the opportunity today. For the evening news, Jalicia Pinder.
Shania Singh now tells us that a would-be toilet bowl thief was sentenced and jailed today.
44-year-old Troy David of Lot 80 Robb Street, Border, today appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court after he was charged for attempting to steal a toilet bowl. It is alleged that on Wednesday, June 11th at Lamaha and Cummins Street, he attempted to commit a felony by stealing a toilet bowl worth $75,000, which was the property of Raj Bukraj Company. It is also alleged that the businessman secured his premises and went home. He later received a phone call from his neighbor and subsequently went back to the premises when he noticed the padlock on the washroom door was broken. The defendant was later caught by public-spirited citizens who turned him over to the police. The labourer, who was convicted previously for 2 counts of simple larceny, pleaded guilty and was given a sentence of 9 months imprisonment. Shania Singh for the Evening News.
Sagana Water Incorporated GWI today offered its recommitment to the repair of roads that were damaged during the execution of the Georgetown Sanitation Improvement Program. More from Svetlana Marshall.
As the U.S. $10 million Georgetown Sanitation Improvement Program GSIP wraps up, the executing agency, Guyana Water Incorporated, GWI, said it will be working along with the Public Works Ministry to ensure that road repairs are executed. GWI's Executive Director for Infrastructure Planning and Implementation, Ramchand Jailal, ruled out the notion that GWI had no intention of repairing the damaged roads.
There's a commitment within the fourth quarter of the year that we are taking to complete it, and that is part of the contractor's obligation. Contractors Navi Jackman Consortium, and the supervision is being done by a local forum in collaboration with an international forum, Aegis and LITEC, which is a LITEC International Forum.
At the time, Jailal was speaking at a seminar on the care and maintenance of the Georgetown sanitation system at the Regency Suites Hotel. The informative session forms part of the GSIP initiative, which was designed to improve the operational performance of the Georgetown sewage system. GSIP has accelerated to the point where there is substantial completion of the rehabilitation of the delivery and force mains. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. Months after it was announced that $1 billion was allocated to clean up Guyana, Cabinet has expressed concerns over how the $500 million allocated to Georgetown will be spent. More from Ruben Stobie.
With $1 billion to execute cleanup projects and perform infrastructural works on existing drainage systems in the capital city and other coastal areas in just 6 months, Cabinet says it cannot help but be concerned about what sort of results will be achieved. The $1 billion was budgeted for the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development. $500 million will be spent for works in Georgetown and the other $500 million in coastal communities across the country. Speaking at his post-cabinet briefing today, head of the Presidential Secretariat, Dr. Roger Luncheon, said Minister Norman Whitaker assured Cabinet that the creation of a specialized unit to deal exclusively with the programming and implementing of cleanup and repair activities in Georgetown and the coastal areas would ensure results.
The minister also recognized that there were structures, existing entities on the ground that had statutory responsibilities for undertaking some of the very same functions and activities that he would be spending this $1 billion on. And he declared that some of this money, this $1 billion, would indeed flow to these bodies to improve their functioning, to outfit them, resource them better, and definitely to enhance their capacity to discharge their statutory functions.
Dr. Luncheon said Minister Whitaker has been assured of Cabinet support, but clearly recognizing that to spend $1 billion in 6 months and providing credible results was something of a concern.
Cabinet members, the Cabinet as a whole, and I'm certain the public, the taxpayers, the residents of Georgetown and these coastal administrative regions will all be interested when the 6 months would have elapsed, what kind of report our Honorable Minister Norman Whitaker would be providing.
Solid waste legislation was also mentioned as one of the ways of achieving sustainable results under the $1 billion cleanup program. For the Evening News, Ruben Stobie.
A Partnership for National Unity, APNU, today renewed its call for Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohey to be removed from his post since the human safety situation in Guyana allegedly continues to take a downward spiral. More from Alexis Rodney.
Shadow Home Affairs Minister Winston Felix said for 8 years the Guyanese public has been feeling the pressure of the minister's inefficient service. Since taking up office in 2006, Felix said Rohey has been doing little or nothing for the safety of all Guyanese. He said there has not been an effective contingency plan by the minister.
Quite recently, I think it was Tabrook News who posed a question to the minister about the born hand. He said, "Me don't burn hands, I just give out things." That is a wimpy statement coming from a minister. He doesn't understand the context in which he is operating as that of Minister of Home Affairs, and that he is responsible for everything that falls and takes place within his ministry.
Felix said that the minister has also failed the Guyanese people in matters relating to traffic accidents. He made a reference to the 3 children who were killed in a horrific accident on the Carintine coast on Wednesday. These things are to be laid at the feet of the minister, Felix said.
Why not get equipment? Why not change the method of operation? Instead of daytime, check the roads in the night, no traffic policemen. Now, how do you prevent speeding and drunken driving by night if you don't have policemen on the road enforcing those particular laws? Because I can assure you on the quarantine by night, all sorts of lawlessness takes place. And as such, in various parts of the country, the police needs to adjust with safety in mind.
The National Assembly, in a marathon debate in July 2012, had passed a resolution of no confidence in Minister Clement Rohey and his ability to exercise responsibility for human safety. The resolution called on President Donald Ramotar to revoke the appointment of Rohey. However, it was never done. The PPP is also standing with Rohey and has argued that the APNU was trying to make the minister a scapegoat in its wider ploy to support criminals and the underground economy. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Education Minister Priya Manikchand has stated that President's College is still a top school in the country, as she announced that a different method has been adopted for the placement of students.
During the announcement of the National Grade 6 assessment results on Thursday, Education Minister Priya Manikchand stated that while President's College was not among the top schools awarded to top students, it still remains the top school on the east coast of Demerara. The minister explained that the school is now being used to place students from the immediate area and those from the various regions who have obtained a certain marks at the NGSA.
So students who attain 491 marks and more and live between Cummings Lodge and Mahaika are awarded non-residential places at President's College. So same way you live in Kitty, you get to go to QC, same thing. And then students from regions 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 who have those high scores are allowed residential places at President's College. And so it is actually serving more persons and more needy persons now.
Manik Chand stated that President's College was among the country's top schools and was on par with Queen's College.
What happened was you had a school where a lot of people were choosing, for example, my entire family, brother, sister, and I, we all got PC, but we chose to go to QC. So you had the school heavily underpopulated, but extremely expensive to run because it's a residential school. And while that was happening, we had all these children in 1, 7, 8, 9, 2, 10, 7, 5 and so on who needed a good school to go to, but couldn't access it because it was only for the top echelons.
Manik Chand went on to say that now the situation has changed and persons are choosing to stay at the schools closer to their homes.
So people are choosing more and more to stay, not more and more, this is a phenomenon we've seen for a couple of years, since that was 5 or 6 years ago, to stay in their places. Now if we were to say we're offering President's College only to the top students, then essentially what you're saying is 120 elite students in this country will have the option of going to either PC or QC. Some will choose QC, some will choose PC, and both will be underpopulated.
The Education Minister pointed out that this situation is causing the schools to become underpopulated, and this new method would allow students from the other regions access to facilities they would not have gotten access to had they stayed in their regions. Reporting for the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
The excitement over the national grade 6 examination results continue, and students in Essequibo are attributing their overall success to hard work. Let's find out more from Alexis Rodney.
Essequibo top student Roshani Dionarine hailed her successes to hard work and extra studies. The 11-year-old from Good Hope said she is excited about her achievement and thanked her parents and teachers. Gaining a second position for Region 2 was Premchand Ramprasad from Tatemont Manor Primary. He attributed his success to extra lessons. Third position was held by Saskia Sakai from Hampton Court, who said she knew she would have done well and thanked her parents and teachers of Hampton Court Primary. Coming in fourth position, Estefania Prasad 11 from Tatemont Manor, who said she hails her successes to late studies. Fifth position from Sparta Primary is Charandat Narayan. Narayan said he knew he was going to excel in the examinations. And in sixth position is Maria Bacchus. She said she was excited. Bacchus from CV News Primary commended her teachers and parents for the support given. Yushana Mohan, also from Fisher Primary, copped 7th position and first for her school. The 11-year-old student said she is very happy and thanked God for her success. From Fisher Primary, Begum Somaya Baksh, who gained one of the 8 positions, thanked all her teachers and parents for the support given. 10th position in the region was Sundar Shana Muniram. Imtiaz Ali and Giram Bisundial from Aurora Primary said they knew they will have done well.
Your regional, international, bridge and ferry reports are after the break. Stay tuned. This is Evening News. Welcome back. In the region, the Jamaican government has decided to decriminalize the possession of small amounts of marijuana, joining the trickle of countries moving to soften laws on a drug known in the Caribbean island as ganja. The Minister of Justice, Mark Golding, made the announcement at an afternoon news conference yesterday, saying that Jamaica's Dangerous Drugs Act would be formally amended this summer. The cabinet of Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller made a decision on June 2, he said, and I quote, Cabinet approved certain changes to the law relating to ganja. These relate to possession of small quantities of ganja for personal use, the smoking of ganja in private places, and the use of ganja for medical and medicinal purposes. Approval has been given also to a proposal for the decriminalization of the use of ganja for religious purposes, end quote. Uruguay recently became the latest country to legalize marijuana use, joining several countries in Europe, as well as the U.S. states of Colorado and Washington. Possession of small quantities of the drug would become a non-arrestable, ticketable infraction in Jamaica, resulting in a fine, Golding said. In case you just joined us, you're watching Evening News. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 5 hours 30 on Saturday, June 14, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours, and the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 4 hours 5 on Saturday, June 14, 2014, for a period of 1.5 hours. And for those of you using the ferry service, the Supanam and Parika ferries are slated to depart their respective locations on Saturday, June 14, 2014 at 17 hours. Both ferries are also slated to return to their respective locations on Saturday, June 14, 2014 at 5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MACWAP. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. Guyanese immersed in World Cup fever. Exciting action continues on day 2 in Brazil. Rain delays completion of Busted 2020 on the East Coast, and Spurs take 3-1 lead in NBA Finals. Of course, our sportcast comes to the kind compliments of MACWAP.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. That is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. MACWAP, let's build Guyana together.
Welcome back. Now for a look at the details. We start off with some World Cup news. Spain's World Cup defense began with a thrashing by Group B rivals the Netherlands in a rematch of the 2010 final. Xabi Alonso's penalty gave Spain the lead after Stefan de Vrij tripped Diego Costa, but Robin van Persie equalized with a superb acrobatic header. Arjen Robben cut inside and fired in before de Vrij nodded in to put the Dutch 3-1 up. Van Persie then robbed the ball off the goalie to score, while Robben's solo effort completed the rout. Earlier, Mexico overcame having 2 goals controversially ruled out to beat Group A rivals Cameroon, courtesy of a goal from striker Uribe Peralta. Giovanni Dos Santos had a volley and a header disallowed for what appeared to be mistakes by the assistant referee. Cameroon rarely threatened, but a Samuel Eto'o shot hit past the post, and Benoit Asso Eketo's free kick went wide. However, Mexico secured victory when Dos Santos' shot was parried before Peralta arrived to slot in the rebound. Meanwhile, the 2014 FIFA World Cup opened on Thursday, and fans flocked to various popular venues to witness the action, featuring host nation Brazil and Croatia. Our roving cameraman, along with reporter Tristan Joseph, was on the streets capturing the action. Let's take a look.
That was the scene at Rocky's Sports Bar after Brazil equalized, after Croatia had taken an early lead through an own goal. Karl Meturam, who is the interior manager for Mark Interior Communications, had this to say about the World Cup atmosphere.
Well, the atmosphere at Rockies is wonderful, man. Wonderful. We have a lot of Brazilian supporters there, and Brazil will win. With the kind of excitement that's going on here, there's no doubt about Brazil will win this game.
The scene at the 704 Sports Bar was even greater as security had to stop persons from entering due to overcrowding. Project manager of 704 Sports Bar, Dostani Barrow, shared his views on the atmosphere at the popular venue.
As you can see in the best sports bar in Guyana, we have a lot of Brazilian fans coming down. We have a lot of Brazilian fans in here today. I think Brazil has a good chance in the World Cup, but I think they will get knocked out in the quarterfinals.
Meanwhile, Brazil defeated Croatia 3-1 to the jubilation of many Guyanese who are in support of their neighbors.
Some cricket news now. Reeling from a spineless batting performance in the first test against New Zealand at Sabina Park, the West Indies selectors have reportedly drafted in the informed Guyanese batsman Leon Johnson and Jamaican batsman Jermaine Blackwood for the second test starting on Monday at Queen's Park Oval in Trinidad. A usually reliable source close to the West Indies cricket board said the 26-year-old Johnson and the 22-year-old Blackwood were on Thursday afternoon added to the squad as the West Indies look to level the series. It is understood that the opener Kieran Powell and Marlon Samuels have been dropped following the 186-run loss in the first test in Jamaica. Basketball news. San Antonio Spurs are one win away from a fifth NBA championship in 15 years after demolishing Miami Heat 107-86. Kawhi Leonard scored 20 points and had 14 rebounds as the Spurs won a second straight game in Miami to lead the best-of-7 series 3-1. No team has overcome a 3-1 deficit in the finals, but Spurs star Tony Parker expects the Heat to respond. LeBron James had 28 points and 8 rebounds for Miami. Here now are the highlights of the game.
He kicks it back out. Bosh on the drive, lays it in with a rock. Talk last couple of days about Chalmers' struggles. Leonard, beautiful feed to Duncan. Parker against Chalmers, gets in the paint. Beautiful move. Big player for San Antonio during this run, as has Rashard Lewis. Diaw fakes Bosh, stays in front of him. Green has a quick release and hits the three. Diaw does the same. Parker wide open. And playoffs, despite being the oldest at 38. Green, another. That's a key statistic when you're facing the Miami Heat. Nice move from Bosh. Beats Duncan off the dribble and the finish. His feet, but Bosh there to bail him out. Bosh hits again. Ginobili to Parker. One to shoot. Parker just gets it off in time and net 8 splitter on James. James sets and puts up a three and nails it. In a game that he loves so much. And just finds Bosh. Bosh along the baseline. That'll go. Leonard stays with the play and finishes against so many possessions with multiple passes. Another beauty.
Three in the manner in which they did it as Corey Joseph.
And finally, rainfall on the east coast of Demerara has forced organisers of the Buster 2020 cricket competition to delay the completion of the tournament as the Enterprise Buster Sports Club has been deemed unfit for play. A visit to the ground by this newscast on Friday morning revealed several puddles of water on the outfield, quashing any hopes of the games being played on Saturday. According to Chief Coordinator Jawaharlal Jitlal, the lone semi-final and final will be played on a date to be announced, and that will of course be dependent on the weather. Host club Enterprise A have drawn the bye to the final and will face the winner of the Ogle and Fairfield semi-final. The winning team will receive $50,000, while the runners-up will receive half that amount. The tournament is being sponsored by the Guyana Beverage Company under its Buster brand. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by MarCorp. And that's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Friday, June 13, 2014. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.